Welcome to Beyond the School Gate. For those of you who are new around here, my name is Ruth, and this podcast aims to share the varied experiences of women in leadership, to talk about what we do beyond the school gate, the good, the bad, and the funny. So hello, Chloe, and welcome to Beyond the School Gate.
Hello, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, if you see me kind of looking to the side, it's just because I have a question set over here. So yeah, don't be put off by my eyes flicking over here. And I like to start the podcast, Chloe, just by asking people how we know each other.
Well, we didn't meet very long ago. I'm not going to lie. I'd love to say we're childhood friends, but we're not. I launched Nala in October and heard from you recently. You reached out through Instagram about coming to talk to you, and this is the first time I've ever spoken on a podcast about Nala. So yeah, you have that honor.
Yay! We're privileged. We're very privileged. I just remember seeing all of your stuff on Instagram and just being like, oh my gosh, like I've not seen anything like this by way of a brand and that engaging and that inclusive. I was just like, wow, this is something so different. And then I was like, follow straight away. And then like, yeah, everything you guys post and what you're doing is just, it's just mind blowing. It blows me away every time I see kind of how creative you are and your online presence. So can you just tell us a little bit about Nala and where the idea for the business came from?
Yeah, sure. Well, first I want to say thank you. That was very kind what you said about Nala. I think that's our goal, is for people to come to the page and sort of think like, wow, this is like different to anything I've ever seen. So hearing you say that means a lot. Thank you. So Nala, yeah, we only launched it in October. So we're still very young. It's now March. So yeah, we're still babies, but the idea sort of started back in COVID lockdown. Sorry to take you back there. I feel like it's a triggering time to go back to, but I was living with my husband in New York, and we actually came back. We kind of came back to Australia for a visit where we're from and got stuck here, and we're doing lockdowns with parents, and it was a whole thing. But we during lockdown, I was sort of on the hunt for some new underwear and just was looking at what was out there on the market and had a few sort of non-negotiables for me. So something that was affordable, that was very important. Something that was sustainable, something that was high quality, but also something that was cool. I felt like all the products that were out there that sort of ticked those boxes. I'm going to be a little bit mean, but I won't name any brands, but they were a little bit boring. I didn't want to go for the neutrals and the earthy tones. I wanted something a bit more fun, and really felt like there wasn't something out there like that. So my husband and I sort of decided to do it ourselves. And yeah, that takes us to now. Nala babies out there in the world.
That's wild. So what you said, you decided to just do it yourself. So what was like day one, you're kind of right, we're going to do it. What did that look like?
Oh, what did it look? That's actually a great question. It started with a lot of market research. That was the first thing. Looking at all the other brands out there, what everyone was doing, what the price points are. I went to a shopping center after and tried on, I'm not joking, every single bra and brief that was in the shopping center, just to get a real idea of what was out there, and not just from like looking online, but like what the feel was like, what the comfort level was like, how supportive it was, all of that. So that was probably the first step. And it also really gives you an idea of what's working, what's working for brands, what's not working for brands, because you can sort of sense trends in other brands. And that just sort of helped us. Like once we had that, we sort of came back together and thought, okay, what are the things that we need to do here? Like, what are our like non-negotiables here? So obviously it was those early things like affordable, sustainable, but also like comfort level. We thought about things like, do we want to go into underwire? Do we want to go into wire free? Like things like that. And then, yeah, going from there, it all just, I don't know, that's where it started and it evolves. You start thinking about, okay, products, getting the products made, fabrics, go to market strategy, all these things. Yeah. But that takes time.
Wow.
We were working on it for a year before. Oh, yeah, working on it for a year before we actually launched. So it's a year's work, really.
Mhm. And do you have a background in this space? Is that?
No, no.
Oh, wow.
I actually have an online Pilates business. My background is I'm a physiotherapist and Pilates teacher. So
Okay.
very, yeah, not underwear at all. Yeah, that's very new for me, which has been quite fun. Like, yeah, it's been fun for me just to
Yeah,
dive into
nice.
something completely different. But
Mhm.
we get help from people. I mean, I'm not the one that constructs like the bras, but I'm part of the process. So we, yeah,
Yeah.
get help from people who actually know what they're talking about when it comes to design and construction of bras. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's amazing. I think sometimes back to like some of my younger listeners, or even like people who are thinking about like a career change or trying something different or something new. Like it always just blows my mind when I speak to people who have done this thing and they're so successful in something that's just completely different to like their background and their training. Like it really does show you
Yeah.
like the sky's the limit and you can do what you want to do. Like it's
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely. I think about it all the time just because it is so different to where I thought I would be at this point.
Yeah.
And if we go back to me studying at university, I just thought I'd be a physio forever. Like
Yeah.
I never sort of considered anything else, but uh, COVID really changed things because that's when I used to just teach in studios Pilates and treat in practice physio. COVID changed everything, and when I started my online Pilates business, I guess I saw different opportunities and different career paths that could be really fulfilling and successful. And I don't know, that's when I guess the seed was planted.
Yeah, nice. So if you had to choose one thing about your business that surprised you, either in the setup phase or the running phase, what would you choose?
Oh, it's hard to pick one because I genuinely had no idea what to expect before we launched Nala. And I'm not someone who doesn't like to plan and know what to expect in life. So I was like thinking about everything, like I was like, will we sell a bra? Will people like it? I don't know, everything. Um, I guess the one thing that surprised me the most, I would say, is the general support that we've gotten from people. So before we launched, I remember we had this meeting with Phil, my husband, and Sim, who works with us as well. And we were thinking like one of our strategies was a lot of we wanted to gift people product, but we also wanted like to really encourage people to post on Instagram and on socials to try and like spread the word about Nala. That was like a big part of our strategy. And we were sitting in this meeting thinking like no one's going to want to post in their underwear. It's going to be so hard to get this content that we want from people. And we were like brainstorming all these different ideas, like let's maybe we like do a series where people like hang their bras on like their washing line and like post that, and like we'll create like a whole campaign around like showing them, and like that'll be a way to share. And it's so funny, after we launched, like we have had so much content. Like people send us such great content of them in their Nala bras and undies, like feeling hot and sexy and fierce and loving it, and like being like share it with the world and like throwing it at us. Like we have so much content, and it's funny, like looking back, we were just completely wrong about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So that's been amazing because it's been huge, like to have such a amazing selection of content that's been generated by our community. Like we couldn't ask for
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it just shows that whole genuine connection, I think, with the community, that there's that trust as well. Because when you're in your underwear, you're the most vulnerable, probably, right? So the fact that they're
Totally.
trusting you with that, like, that's phenomenal. One of the things that stands out for me is how inclusive that is as well. Like, I think it's so important, especially like growing up. I don't know. For me growing up, you'd kind of see a lot of straight size women. You
Yeah.
wouldn't see as much variation, you wouldn't see that inclusion, and that's one of the things that really stood out for me when I saw you
Yeah.
posting stuff.
Yeah, that was a big thing for us. Like when we started, we were like, inclusivity is one of our main pillars. We, in doing research about other brands, we found that especially in the underwear space, a lot of brands were doing sort of this tokenistic form of inclusivity where maybe they would use a model with a bigger body, or like they would like throw in a trans model, or throw something just to like give that little like insert of diversity. And we were like, we didn't want to do that. We wanted to sort of build inclusive within the brand and talk to people in that way. So we not just the models that we use, that like we try and be as inclusive as possible in terms of gender, race, and size, but also we have products that we have on the Nala website, which are gender inclusive, but also products that have been designed for the trans and gender diverse community. So we're working on more for the community. So things like that, where we're not just like, here's a model with a bigger body. I don't know. We actually like cater to those things. Our size curve as well, we go up to a 6XL and up to an H cup.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah, which is good, which is hard as well for a small business. But yeah, we try and do those things. And yeah, it's going really well. Like, it's been received so well. Yeah, couldn't be happier, really.
And I'm sure you saw must have been back in October when you guys were launching. You did put like underwear on people's windscreens, right?
Yeah.
I didn't dream that.
It would have been awkward if that wasn't us. And we're like,
can you imagine? No.
What have you been up to? What are you Googling? Yeah. Yes, we did. So one of the things we're trying to do activations that stand out and like stand out from the crowd, really. That's another part of our strategy. So for our launch, we realized we're going out in the world, like, here's Nala, no one knows who we are. We wanted to do some sort of activation that got a bit of attention. So in Bondi, we planted G-strings on people's cars. They were new, but we attached a little like handwritten note that said, you left these at my place last night, XX Nala. So we had people like literally like pick up these G-strings thinking, what is this? But then these people in these local community Facebook groups started taking photos and posting them, and they were like going mini viral in these groups. So people were picking it up, and then people were making comments saying things like, this almost broke up my marriage, things like that. I know. I mean, their marriage couldn't have been that stable to start.
Right. I love it that you just bounced on the scene. Like, we're here. We're gonna like. Yes. When I looked through all your social stuff and I looked through that, I was like, the word disturb kept coming for me. Like, we're gonna disturb the status quo again. I think that's just what a great strategy.
Yeah, it was really fun. It worked well. It got picked up by the Daily Mail, which was really cool in terms of reach. Like, just to get people to hear the name Nala, like get it in their ears, even if they like it didn't translate to sales at all, but it more just gave people that brand awareness, which was our main goal to start. Like, later we'll convince them that we have the best bras, but for now we just want you to know who Nala is, so that when you see it next time, you're like, it's familiar to them, and yeah, they can sort of go further down that funnel to hopefully be a customer one day.
So what do people most misunderstand about what you do as a job?
I think that would be that when it comes to intimates, underwear, but especially bras, I think people don't understand how long and intricate the process is to develop really high quality products. I didn't know that before. There's no way I knew, but we plan 12 to 18 months in advance, because it actually takes that long, not to only make the garments at the end to sell, but to plan what that's going to be. So say we have an idea that we want to create a certain bra. Okay, we know what the bra wants to look like. Then we have to source the fabric. Is it sustainable? Is it high quality? Is it affordable? Because we want to, if it's too expensive, then we have to pass that price on to the customer. So it has to tick all those boxes. What are the minimums on it? Do we have to order 1 million meters of it? Like, can we? Yeah. So that's the first step. Then once we have the fabric, we have to make the samples. What are the samples like? What does it feel like on the body? What's the wear like? Then how does it wash? Okay, the garment might be good, but when you put it in the wash, does it stay good? Does it pill? And then you wear it, and then you wash it, and then you wear it, and then you wash it. Is it still good? Is it still that same quality? But then especially when it comes to bras and cup size, that's really challenging because you could perfect one bra size. Say we start with a 12B. Is a 12B, is the 12B bra in this style going to be as supportive as when we create our 16H bra? Is it going to be supportive for that customer as much as it is for our 12B customer? And you have to make sure that each size is accurate and supportive. So we have to make changes along the way. So say when it gets to a certain point, you thicken the strap or you add more of a sling support to give more support for the breast, like things like that. And it's there's no way that you can rush this process. It's slow because you have to give each part of the process the same level of attention. Otherwise, the quality and the result at the end won't be as good. So it's funny, people sometimes ask me like, oh, you're working on any upcoming products? And I'm just like, you have no idea. We are working on a lot of upcoming products. The other thing is we might get to a point with a product and think like this actually isn't good enough, or this isn't going to serve our customer as well, and we'll scrap it. So
Right.
that's probably the biggest. I think the question was, what's the biggest misunderstanding? That's the biggest one by a mile.
Okay. I hadn't even thought about that. I just, my naive brain just assumed you just, this sound, I'm going to sound so silly, but like you just had a size and then you just made it a bit bigger and just like, okay. But yeah, you're right. The support, the straps,
I think if you think about it if a plain t-shirt, it would probably be more simple because it would just be to scale. Everything gets a little bit bigger as the size gets bigger. Whereas when it comes to bras, it is much more complex. And as much as you want it to sort of follow this simple pattern, increase the cup capacity, increase the band, it just is not that simple. It's just always, it's always a process. But that's why we test on so many people. We get, like, before we ever produce a product, we get samples made across a range of different sizes, and then we have this big list of test wearers, and we have their bra size, and we just send them out to everyone. They send us videos, they come in, we look at the size on them. Are they spilling out? Can we add more here, take out here? It's like a whole process. But it means that the product at the end is really good quality, so it's worth it.
So what would you say is the biggest challenge, or has been the biggest challenge, and what approach have you taken to tackling it?
The biggest challenge has been the challenges we've faced in censorship. So we are an intimates brand, so our imagery is a little sexy, some could say. It is people in underwear, and half of our range is made from a fabric we call our flossy mesh. So it's see-through, it's sheer. So on our website, you see models' nipples because through the products, and we love that. That's part of our brand. We didn't really think about that and the implications of that would have when we launched. So website's fine, but we've had censorship issues from Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, from TikTok and from Google, where we've had limitations. So Meta, we've been shadow banned. Google, it took us 4 months to get any ads approved because they labeled our homepage as pornographic and you can't advertise porn. And because of those mesh products, which took 4 months to overcome, so now we're good. TikTok has permanently banned us from ever advertising on the platform ever. It's like a lifetime ban, which is really unfortunate. But this is big issues for a business. Part of our strategy was to put some budget towards advertising and to put towards these things. So to face these sorts of issues, like, it has huge implications for the business. But we're trying our best. We wrote for International Women's Day last week, we wrote an open letter to all the CEOs of those companies to try, and it went really well. People really got behind it. I mean, it didn't change anything, but it was cool.
But you had your voice, right? Like,
we had our voice. It was fun. It was
But wow, God, I wouldn't even think of that. All the things that but I feel like that's, you see it a lot on social media. I don't think it's exclusive to Nala or to the work that you guys are doing. Like,
No, it wouldn't be exclusive to us. And I think like throughout this process, I've thought, what are other brands? I don't know what other brands do, but we're not the first intimates brand with mesh products to come onto the scene, or the first intimates brand to have sort of sexy imagery of models.
Yeah.
And I wonder how other brands have overcome it, or if they have. I think we need a support group, an underwear sales support group.
And so what would you consider to be an important strength for someone in your industry?
I think the ability to get cut through is probably the most important thing. It's hard to get cut through these days. It's hard to grow an Instagram following. It's hard these days. So I think trying to sort of think out the box is the best way you're going to get brand recognition and try and grow. So you mentioned our G-string activation, something like that, which was different. It was funny. People noticed that, as opposed to doing, say, if we just instead maybe had a launch party, and this is what we sort of were thinking about at the start, a launch party where we invite influencers and get people to post. Like, yeah, that could be great. And I'm not ruling that out forever, but we were thinking, okay, what's the best use of our time and our money and our resources to try and get that same level of cut through? So think out of the box, that wow factor. We've had a couple of videos on TikTok that have gone viral just because they're so outrageous and out there that they get those sorts of views. So yeah, that's probably the best thing, I'd say.
And it definitely stands out. Like, I just remember when I saw the G-string on the windscreen, just laughing, because I'm like, how innovative. And the picture, I think it might have been on was it the Daily Mail you said picked it up?
Yeah.
I think it might have been on their website, and just remember seeing people like looking, and I was like, this is so fun. So fun.
Yeah, it was hysterical. I loved it. But we've got something else coming up very equally as shocking in a couple of weeks. So I'm excited to share that. I can't wait. I'll tell you about it when we're not recording.
Yeah, okay. So exciting. So where you guys have grown massively in what sounds like less than 6 months. Where do you see Nala in the next 5 years?
Oh, I'd love to see Nala sponsoring the Super Bowl halftime show. maybe even on the halftime performer could be Harry Styles coming out in Nala bra. Would love to see that.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
How specific should I get here?
Yeah, I love, if that's the goal, I love it.
I mean, we're thinking big. We're thinking big at Nala. We've had such good traction and such good response from the community. I think not just from like those activations and those out there marketing activations, but from I guess the products themselves. Like, people are loving the products. They're really like, we're trying to offer something that isn't already in the market. So seeing the response has been amazing. So if we can continue to do that, I also think we try and solve problems that the community has. So like, for example, our best-selling bra is called our Support Wire-Free Bralette, which is a wire-free bralette that's designed for bigger cup sizes. So it only suits a D cup and up, but it has no wire. And that is something that if you ask anyone with a bigger bust, they say that there isn't anything like that on the market. And so they're just loving it. So something like that, which solves a problem. Or our tuck brief, which gives like a flattening effect for trans women who want to provide that gentle compression through the front of the brief. Something like that solves a problem. So what we try and do when we're forward planning for our products is to continue to do that. So hopefully we can just expand on that and just have a range of products that really serve the community, and also be on Harry Styles at the halftime show.
Yay! Can you imagine it, like, in a year's time, when that happens? I'm going to put the positive vibes out. When that happens,
let's put it out there. Let's manifest it. Let's do it.
Just have this part of the podcast on repeat.
I'm not usually such a spiritual person, but I will for this. Let's make it happen.
So I love to ask guests, what's one question that you wish I had asked but I didn't ask, and how would you have answered it?
Well, I would have loved you to ask if you've seen the Nala Fit Guide, or if I would actually, sorry, I should ask you that. Have you seen the Nala Fit Guide?
I don't think I have, no.
So I would have loved if you asked me about that, but let's pretend you did. So
Let's pretend.
a big challenge that we knew we were going to face when we launched Nala was the challenge of buying bras online. So most people are not used to buying bras online because you're used to going into a store, getting fitted and making sure it's the right fit. So we really tried to come up with a way that would make buying bras online easier and more accessible for people. So if you go onto the Nala website and go do a fit guide, you'll be presented with a library of over 30 naked chests and breasts that you can scroll through, and you can hover over and click on a chest that looks like your own, and
Wow.
it tells you what size that person is, the shape of that person's breasts, and then it shows you that person's body in some of our products that are best suited for them. So it's been amazing for people at home, because instead of seeing bras, scrolling through your website, seeing bras on models, instead you're seeing naked boobs in your face, and then you're seeing a chest like yours in a product. So that has been awesome. We had that ready for our launch, which was so awesome. And then the response has been so amazing. And
That's awesome.
So
How
yeah,
did you find the models? How
out.
did you select models? Like, did people just say, yeah, I'll do it? Like, was that hard or easy to get people?
It was hard, but not as hard as I thought. Because I thought I started off the initial post on my Instagram was a little vague.
Okay.
I made it intentionally vague. I said something about female empowerment, a groundbreaking campaign. And then I gave more details, and people were just really into it. I mean, on the day we had some amazing people come in. Like we had a woman who had the BRCA gene and had a double mastectomy and reconstruction. She came in because she wanted to show off like what she's been through. Like she was proud of her scars, proud of her story. We had a trans woman come in who wanted to show it off. We had a breastfeeding mum who literally had baby breastfeeding, took the baby off, took the shots. Like it was awesome. We had like so many people, and if you scroll through, I think a lot of people found a lot of comfort scrolling through, because they're not models. They're like they are real breasts of all ages, all sizes. And yeah, it was awesome. And we're planning to reshoot and add more people into the mix. So it's like an even bigger library and even more representation of all different types of bodies. And I think it'll be easier now to find people, now that people know that we're legit.
Yes,
we ask people to like come to a studio and like pose topless and sell them online or something.
Can I take a picture of your boobs, please?
Yeah, would that be right? I know you've never heard of us, but like, can we take a picture of your boobs and put them on our website?
But that's amazing, like how different. And also it's almost like, I don't know if it was intentional on your guys' behalf, but it almost kind of future proofs for any further pandemics and lockdowns and all of that stuff, as well as people just, I suppose, just seeing more variety.
Yeah, exactly.
Very awesome.
Yeah. Thanks.
Oh wow, I'm gonna
I know where you'll be heading.
Yeah, sorry.
I know where you'll be heading after this call.
Oh, 100%. I'll be like, oh, she looks like me.
Which one's me?
Yeah. And just the final question before we wrap up, where can people find more information about you and your business?
Yeah, so our website is wearnala.com, WEAR Nala, NALA.com. And we are on Instagram and we're on TikTok at wear_Nala. Come check us out, give us a follow, send us a DM, say hi. Yeah, that's where you can find us.
Thank you so much. And thanks again so much for agreeing to be on the podcast. It's been so much fun. I think most of the people I've had on up until now, I've definitely known them a lot longer than you. Yeah. We've just just kind of connected. So this was kind of like a bit of a different experience for the podcast as well. One of my goals for this year is my word for the year is fearless. So it is about just reaching out to people and saying, hey, would you like to be on the podcast? Or just being a bit more fearless. So you've definitely helped me on that journey as well. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for making me feel a little bit more fearless as well, because this is scary for me too. So thank you.